I can't believe that you came into my life. You made me feel again. Now it's my turn. You say you've always been a little bit shy, but I can put an end to your fears. Let me show you a place where you gon' wanna move your feet until they start to bleed. DJ, take it away. Tonight is all for you and me. So baby, spin.
Hi everybody, welcome to My Big Tidy Up. My name's DeDe. Thanks for tuning into my channel today. Now today, here's what I got going on. Today is all about home organization, and in particular, my home organization. Now you guys have said in the past various times, oh DeDe, your house is so clean and so together. Well friends, it really isn't so clean and so together, but I do try to keep it picked up and organized, and organization to me is the key. I feel like if you can get good systems of organization set up in your home, it gives the illusion of it being cleaner than it actually is. So today, I'm going to be going through the rooms that most of us all have, and I'm going to be sharing with you the ways that I keep those particular rooms organized. Now, some of these things you may already do, some of them may be new to you, but we're going to go through, we're going to talk about organization, I'm going to tidy up a few places, and we're just going to get it done today. So without any further ado, let's get it started and let's get tidy. Well, I'm starting off in the kitchen because, well, we might as well just rip the Band-Aid off and start here because the kitchen can definitely be a challenging area to keep organized because we've got so many different items, food, dishes, utensils, cookware. Now, one thing I do find that helps me is if you set up zones. Now, this particular cabinet, for the most part, is set up as my baking zone. And I keep my baking items here because it is close by to my baking drawer. And it makes sense to me to keep all of my baking items here since it's directly underneath the oven. But if you will put things in zones, and you don't have to have fancy containers, but if you will group like items, you will always know where to find them and put them up. Now this particular cabinet, it's all about my sauces and condiments. Over here, I keep my dry goods and breakfast items. Now I won't be showing you every cabinet, but you kind of get the idea. So set up zones and make your kitchen convenient for you. If you want your glasses underneath your kitchen sink and you think that's the most convenient way that they'll get put back and stay organized, then I say go for it. Another thing that I've found that helps me is if I go and declutter my utensil drawer. Look, it's getting stuck. Lovely. I'm going to tackle it today. And you know what? I have to tackle it quite often, and using dividers really has helped me too. And here's another important tip that I use to try to keep my kitchen organized. That's to limit what I have out on my countertops. And here's why. Several years ago, I heard someone mention that to have a smooth running kitchen, maximize your space, you should only have sitting out on your countertops things that you use every day or several times a week, those things that might be too inconvenient to move often. And little by little, I've kind of let myself get out of the habit, and I want to go back to it today. Now, my knives I use every day. I do use the bowl for fruit. I use the spices, but this right here, well, I got this for my birthday. I really wanted to try saffron rice, so my husband did buy me authentic saffron in this beautiful little container, and I've been kind of using these things as decor pieces, so I just need to go ahead, give these items a new home. I do like the looks of them sitting out, but you know, the saffron jar actually blends in with the backsplash, so it's hard to see anyway, and it's probably likely to get broke if I keep leaving it out. Now, the blender I do use several times a week, so I'm going to move it over here because this area right here isn't my primary work surface, so I think this is a better fit for the blender. And I'll take a couple of these canisters that hold pasta and move them over to a new place. I might even downsize one of them. I really don't have 3 different types of pasta, but I think this will be their new home. Then I'll be able to keep my primary work surfaces cleared, cleaned, and organized.
I need you even more than I did before. You had the last word when you walked out the door. You drive me crazy, I want you to stay here. Now I'm here alone. I hate this party and I don't know anyone. We get drunk and we fight, but I forgive you although you drive me crazy, I want you to stay
Now, I'm not sure if this will be the permanent home of the pasta canisters or if I'll even keep them. I don't know that they're that necessary, but I am going to try it over here. I like having the toaster over here, so maybe the canisters will work over here too. It cost me nothing to try, and I did need to clean the shelves anyway. Now, once I started using a divider in this drawer and keeping spatulas, tongs, servers on one side and spoons on the other, it has stayed more organized. Now, I know it probably doesn't look that way, but it is better than it used to be. Well, I am done with the organizing tidy up, and no, this is not a decluttering video, but I have gone through some things, and I'm going to see if Mr. Tidy Up wants these tongs. I'm going to pitch the spatulas, and this right here, well, it just might reappear as a decor piece somewhere. But what I'm really excited about is I am back to leaving only essential items out. It gives me more work area. It looks more organized because there's less clutter. And anytime you can eliminate clutter, it's easier to keep organized, and I will count that as a win. Now, I've headed into the laundry room, and even though it is a laundry room, it serves a multitude of purposes for us because that's what works for us. And actually, it's kind of an extension of our kitchen because this is where our main pantry is. And let me tell you how I organized it. On the top shelf, basically condiments or boxes or things that won't fall or break or hit me on the head. And the second shelf, I took a little effort and did a lot of thinking about the second shelf. These are things that we use a lot of, that we buy extra of, that we like to keep back stock. I went ahead and labeled them because those items probably won't change. I have a little bit of a jar section here. Then I have a canned goods section. We added some shelves in the middle so that we could have some small appliances because that's what works best for us. We've got 2 big containers for snacks, and I don't need you to judge. And then we do have a little L here I've made for paper products. Plus, I've added 2 hanging baskets, and these have been a game changer. I have one in my kitchen. I have one in the office that I'll be showing you. But this is what really works best for us. I know it's food in the laundry room, but you have to organize to your own needs. Now over here, this does become more of a laundry room, and I do keep cleaning supplies here, but this is actually a laundry chute, but I wanted to take advantage of all this vertical space and use vertical storage. And anytime you can go vertical, you usually do get more bang for your buck. And on this side, I try to organize the items by what I use most lower. Then I group my bulk items or things I may dilute. And then the top things I really don't use very often, and it's highly unlikely I'm going to need them. So that is most convenient for me. And underneath this sink here, well, I still have more cleaning products, but I have changed things up. I used to keep these little containers on the left underneath the kitchen sink, but I had a hard time keeping them organized. So I just eliminated the problem and did some shifting, and now I have given myself a chance for success. Now, speaking of success, my junk drawer isn't always successful, but since I use small containers, it does kind of keep everything kind of corralled, and I'm not just digging in a big drawer for something. And down here, my crock pots and my roasters, and I have found that it is most convenient for me if I keep the roasting bags and crock pot liners here together. If they go together, keep them together. It's kind of like shampoo and conditioner. We keep those right together because we're going to use them together. And over here across from the washer and dryer, I do have a couple of cabinets. We keep our workout clothes and our heavy duty yard clothes over here. And looky there, I've still got 2 empty shelves. And that's one thing that I would say, just because you have a shelf or a drawer doesn't mean you need to fill it. And at the bottom, I have everything for swimming and the outdoors. And I keep the towels and the sunscreen right there. Why? Because they go with the swimsuits. It's all about keeping things in categories. And over here, I've got some random decor. And this is an organizational fail. I just mentioned earlier about the pantry not having big glass above my head. And what do I have above my head? All these vases. So I do need to get over here and reorganize these shelves and move the vases down. And in the bottom, I've just got some random organizers and random baskets.
Oh,
Next up, the office, and here's how I organized it. The thing about this office is I wanted it to look more not like a working office, when in fact it really is a working office because my husband works at this desk a lot, and this corner over here is kind of the My Big Tidy Up control center. So what I tried to do is conceal a lot of the organization, and I didn't have a lot of cabinetry to do it in. And here's another hanging basket. I tell you, I love these things. If you start thinking outside the box, you will find a lot of uses for them. And I also incorporated more plastic drawer storage. And since these are clear, I really didn't even have to label them. You wouldn't have to label them. I was just kind of going through a label frenzy at the time, so I did. Now over here, I'm super proud of this organization. All these papers are necessary for Mr. Tidy Up, and he needed to have access to them, but I didn't want him to show. So I just changed the orientation of the files so they would fit in the drawer. Sometimes just arranging your items in a different way can make a world of difference. If they're horizontal, try them vertically. If they're vertical, try them horizontal. You'll be surprised. It just could be the answer you're looking for. Well, I've headed upstairs to the primary bedroom, and I thought I would share with you some ways I try to maintain organization in this room. And one of the key areas for us has to do with the nightstands. What I do with the nightstands is I limit what I put on the nightstands and what I put inside the nightstands. So on top of the nightstand, I like to just keep a lamp, my water, I pull out my phone charger, and I keep a little dish to drop some jewelry in. And Mr. Tidy Up has the same thing, except he has the clock on his side and he doesn't have a container for jewelry. But not only do I limit what's on top of it, I try to limit what's inside of it. I try to keep it just for essentials. And let me tell you what I was doing, because a nightstand really is just meant to be for essentials to get you through the night. I mean, it's not like I was going out in the wilderness for a week, but you would have thought so, as much stuff as I was keeping in my nightstand, and it was starting to be like a bonus storage unit, so I had to quit doing that. So I really just only keep essential things in the top drawer and jammies on the bottom. The next thing I always do, I always make the bed. And I know some people think you're just going to get back in it. You don't need to do that. But I do, because I think it makes me more organized. And another thing regarding my bed, yes, I've used under my bed for storage, and I think that can be a great idea and a solution if you don't have a lot of room. But I will say this, if I'm going to put something under the bed, it's intentional. It's probably something seasonal. I do not use it as a last-ditch effort to clean up. If it's going under my bed, it's probably going to be its permanent home. And another thing I try to do in the room to keep organized is I utilize baskets, because baskets can keep things contained without a lot of effort. You want your blankets put up without folding them? Put them in a basket. You want to take your shoes off at the door and don't want to organize them? Throw them in a basket. I'm all about the baskets. Well, it's time for the closet, and we all know this is a problem area for me. I have to work at this quite a bit, but I have found that if I keep my clothes organized by season, fall and winter on the bottom, spring and summer on the top, in color order, I will stay more organized. I keep a basket behind the door so that I can do small declutters throughout the year. It's not this huge big process anymore. I just do small declutters, and I'm able to keep everything organized. And if you're keeping score, yes, friends, I still have the empty shelves from the last declutter. I haven't filled them up, and I don't plan on it. As far as the dresser, basically the same rules as the nightstand. I try to keep the top clear. Now, I can't show you all the top drawers because those keep the personals, but what I can show you is that it made the world of difference when I started adding dividers and how I store the items. Some items I roll, some items I fold and kind of do an accordion layering, but I don't just stack a lot of things on top of each other. That way I'm not lifting and digging and rooting around and messing everything up. I try to keep it where I can see everything. And Mr. Tidy Up, he's doing the same thing on his side. Some things he rolls, some things he folds and kind of staggers them. So we've got our system, and it's working. Well, I've come into the primary bath, and this is an area that definitely takes a lot of work to keep organized. I think kitchens and baths are the hardest to keep organized because you have a wide variety of items and a lot of things going on, but I try to set myself up to succeed. Here is where I keep my cleaning products. If I have to go to another room to go get them, it might not get cleaned as often. Here's the things I grab first. These at the bottom are more deep cleaning, so they're not as convenient to grab, but it's okay. I don't grab them that often. So that's one way I try to set myself up for success. And as far as the toiletries and the drawers, I've got one side that's mine, one side that's Mr. Tidy Upper's, and I try to organize them in the way I use them. These are the things in the top drawer that I'm going to use every day. I'm going to pick up and wash my face. I'm going to brush my teeth. Then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to brush my hair. I do the organization in the order that I'm going to use the things. And here at the bottom drawer, well, if I'm lucky, I might straighten my hair or do my hair. And it's not as convenient to grab that drawer, but that's okay because I probably don't use those things in that drawer all the time anyway. So I organize by convenience, first things first, and I work my way down. And Mr. Tidy Up, he's set up the exact same way. Now, as far as my products go, I don't have a lot of concealed storage over here, so I do utilize Lazy Susan's, and I try to limit how many products I have out. Now, I know it probably doesn't look like I'm limiting, but I do, and I try to rotate my products so that I don't have so much clutter and so many things out. And as far as the shower goes, this is one area we really do try to limit the products and rotate products in and out because water does stand here, so we don't keep a lot in the shower. Just the necessities, and again, we can always rotate things in and out, but I always do keep this little scrubber brush filled with Dawn Power soap because it is a good way to maintain your shower. Just a little scrub, hit a wall every time you shower or every other time, and it's so much easier to keep clean. As far as my cosmetics go, I like to have them concealed. I don't like them setting out, and I really do them like I shared with the other drawers. I do them in order. This would be my first step when I'm putting on my cosmetics. Then the next step, I know right where everything is. I don't have to label it. I hit the eyes, and then I finish it up with the lips. And so these boxes are able to look more like decor, and I don't have to label them because I've stored them and organized them in order. And the last place I want to show you in here is this closet where we keep a lot of extra supplies. I've got extra shampoos, conditioners, body washes. All of those things are kept up on tiered shelving, and it's higher. It's not as easy to reach, but we don't go through those items that often. The second shelf, Lazy Susan, and more of these little drawers, and I highly recommend these little drawers. They are so convenient. They keep everything organized, and if you get the clear ones, you don't even have to mess with the labels. And on the bottom, extra paper products and another Lazy Susan. And if you've been with me a while, you know I've probably got 10 Lazy Susans scattered throughout my home. This is for my skincare, makes it super convenient for me. If I don't have things convenient, it just won't get done. Now, before I head down to the basement, I do want to show you this extra bathroom that's our guest bathroom, and I kind of organize it the same way that I did our bathroom. I keep all the drawers convenient for them. In the very top drawer, I have everything that I think they might need where it's easy to grab, and I am a big fan of having little samples because usually when guests see samples, they go, oh, I know that's okay and that's for me to use. Then in the second drawer, I keep extra towels, and there's nothing in the bottom drawer. And as far as the cabinets go, over here, I keep cleaning supplies, and yes, it's another Lazy Susan. And I think it's more convenient for me to have cleaning supplies in here, so if I want to do a quick wipe down, I can just grab it and go. And not that I ever want my guests to clean anything, I would never, but if they would spill something and they want to clean it up, they have access to it. And over here is all of the extra paper products that they might need. And if they get in a bind, well, the toilet paper is just a reach away, so I've tried to organize it where it's convenient for the guests, and I do have other supplies for them and other towels, but that's how I organize this room. Now I've headed down to the basement, and this really isn't about basement organization, but this is what I would call toy room organization. And I thought I would throw this in for those of you that still have littles at home or littles that visit. Now we don't have littles still living here full time, but we do have littles that are here 3 days a week. And what I have found works best for us might be helpful to you. And we have found what works well are having these drawers. They're at eye level and they're easy for them to access their toys. And if they're easy to access, that means they're easy to put them away. Now, I have not labeled anything, but we have established zones. These bottom drawers are kind of the food and grocery zone. And right here in the middle, this has to do with a lot of cars. Now, are these perfectly put away? No, but they know all their cars go in this drawer unless they are Hot Wheels or monster trucks, and they go down in this drawer with the little people. And the bottom drawer, dinosaurs, they get their own drawer. And since we have the newest member and he's littler, we've established these 2 drawers just for his toys. And at the bottom, well, it's all about the pretend station. So that's where they use for make-believe. And even though nothing's labeled, they could tell you right where everything goes. And the oldest are only 4 and 2, and they've got it figured out without labels because we've just been consistent. Now, I'm not going to open every drawer, but they could tell you what's over there, their puzzle drawer, their music drawer, their marble run drawer. And under the TV, we do keep the books, even though it's kind of a different area. It works for us. And over here is where we keep all of our games, our puzzles, our craft supplies, sensory bins. And what I think makes this cabinet work is that we put things into zones. So when you open that door, you know what section you're in. You can find what you're looking for. The sensory bins are in clear tubs. So since they can't read, they can find what they want to play with because they can see it through the container. And I've even kind of done a little extra organizing because I put younger games on one side, older games, puzzles on the bottom, dice games in the middle. Anything I can do to keep it convenient, keep it organized, because if you know where to find it, I truly believe you know where to put it back. And last but not least, when it comes to toy organization, we rotate toys out. I think it makes things a lot better if you rotate. The more you have out at one time, the more you have to clean up and organize at one time. And I think kids, well, they're like us. Don't we get excited if we find $5 that we had stashed away? We're like, oh, I forgot about that. Well, I think it's good to give children an opportunity to fall in love with those toys all over again. Well, Tidy Uppers, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope it inspired you to think about new ways for your home organization. And that's the key word, your home organization. It doesn't have to be like anybody else's, and what I do may not work for you. These are just some things that I wanted to share that are working for me, and maybe some of them might work for you too. Again, thank you for being here. Please take care of yourself, and until I see you in the next one, stay tidy.